Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm your host, Smile Pie, and today we'll be continuing with episode 4 of the campaign chapter 1. So previously, we had just got up to almost fulfilling this goal of Albany reaching 30,000 citizens, and our passenger transport goal is really just sorting itself out. So I noticed after I paused the recording last time that the fulfillment rate was below the rate that would cause the city to actually grow. Um, so many of you might have been watching the last video and been saying, "Oh, smile pie, look, you're waiting for nothing. You're not. Your city's not going to grow if you don't get above 60%." And that's true. So I stuffed that one up, didn't I? So anyway, we learn from our mistakes and we move on. So the way to fix that is we need meat or corn or cloth to come to this city. So we'll be correcting that. So there is a freight train that's on the way at the moment, and lo and behold, it's got meat, it's got wood. So once this gets to Albany, that growth or that fulfillment rate should go up above 60%, and we'll get that goal uh, satisfied. So we'll unpause that. We've got our money starting to tick up. So if we go to our rail lines, we've got 13 rail lines in total. So some of them are actually quite profitable. Others Others are technically not profitable, but what these little negative lines hide is the profit of these lines are transferred onto other trains. So this line, for example, will deliver wheat to Boston, and most of that wheat gets stored in the warehouse. And so once it goes in there, the revenue for transporting the wheat to the warehouse does not count on the Boston wheat train. The revenue will get counted on whichever freight train picks it up from Boston and runs it up to the next line. So we got a small breakdown. That's a pain in the bum. So let's have a look here. Do our old mates actually do anything? Look at them. They're just standing around like planks. But I guess they're not there to fix the train. They're there to bloody drive the train. So maintenance will turn up and fix that. Good on them when they do. Um, it's just a bit of bad luck. You have those instances where things break down, even if you're maintaining them. So it's how it goes. So now we've that 16K. That is our freight train that's just arrived. And so that means now that our fulfillment of demand has gone up. So if I was to look at the stock of the city, you'll see the meats there. That's caused that to go up. We're growing now. We're just about to hit 30K. So let's hang about until we do hit that 30K. Oof, can you feel the excitement, the tension building? I can feel it. Oh, there we go. So we should get a tick pretty soon because that's it hasn't registered in the there we go. What our rails can do for a city is quite unique, a marvel of modern technology. That is bloody correct, mate. So, and just in that short time, less than a month of gameplay, we've had our passenger numbers go up by another 500 at least. So we're absolutely cranking through passengers, which is good for us because that's what we need to continue this campaign. But in the meantime, is there anything else that I can do? So we were talking about picking up this corn, and before we connect into it, let's bloody buy the place. So that's a good buy. we'll get 30% knocked off that. So that'll come down to 220-ish. There we go. And now we have a corn farm. Ho, ho, ho. Now, 250. I'm going to wait a little bit more, and we're going to build up some money, and we're going to get a station in Buffalo. That's what we're doing next. So, and then once we have the Buffalo line established, we'll be able to hook on our corn and take our corn. Well, to take our corn all the way back to Boston, that would be a journey. So let's take it to Albany, which is also a bit of a journey, but we'll take it to Albany and we'll establish a warehouse, and then Boston will be able to collect corn from Albany. So that's the method that we'll look at. We'll also look at putting wheat in the warehouse at Albany, and then that way Syracuse will pick up wheat from Albany as well. So what a masterful strategy. Now, so we'll just wait for some money to tick up. We'll keep the game on slow because why not? Research. Now we do have some research. This is the leaf spring suspension, so increases the maximum speed of your locomotives, or your locomotives can corner by 10%. So that's handy. Let's get that. And next up, deep pockets. After an auction has ended, the costs are subsequently reduced by 5%. So that is something that I would love, because as you have all seen, I love a good auction purchase. So let's get that. Beyond that, detonator increases the reliability of your locomotives by 5%, or reduces construction cost of all buildings, including factories and railway buildings. So in the future, if we want to build new industries, which we do, this one will come in handy. So that's it's on the horizon, but I think we aim for deep pockets next. That's definitely the way to go. So our money's building up a bit more now. So let's check on the passengers. That'll come up in the next few minutes, actually. So let's build to Buffalo. So I'm just going to have a squiz at this rail station. So we've got the building on the south side of the tracks. So let's continue with that alignment, and I think we'll align the station in a in what would you call it? It's not quite north-south or east-west, but we'll arrange it in this diagonal fashion, and we'll figure out the consequences of that later. So, which I don't think I don't think it's going to cause us too much problems. But let's turn the topography on, because topography's the way to go. Keep that 0% grade, so that's handy. Just build that first, so there's no fun and games with the way the computer does things for us. Now let's curve away from a little bit, and we'll hook into that track. Let's see if we can make any difference around here. There is some quirk. We've got away with making a smaller bridge. So luckily, there's no flood modeling in this game, as there would be in modern bridge construction. But you will notice that we're creating quite a little bit of a bottleneck on this stream. But that's real life interfering with games. So let's build that. We'll duplicate the track straight up. So let's run that back to Buffalo. We need a gridiron. So gridiron there, gridiron up there. Now, the other consideration that I wanted to keep in mind while I was building this is how we go about running our next connection down to London, I think that was. So, and my thought would be to have a junction that would come off here, cross the river, and yeah, curve around and be on their way. I think that would be ideal if we can fit it in. The other consideration is how we have our corn station here. So again, my thought would be if we just have like a branch line that comes off here, we could have a station here which picks up both the wheat and the corn. The wheat would be in demand from both of these cities because they both have breweries, but ideally that brewery would disappear because we don't need breweries in every city along the track. So we could have breweries, one in Albany, one in Buffalo, but adjacent to each other. That's not ideal. That's not an efficient use of industry and space. So if we had unlimited money, I'd buy that, demolish it, and put something else, and probably put a textile mill in there. So we'd use this wool over there as well as this wool in New York. So that's yeah, that's something that we could do, but not right now. So let's put the direction of travel in. We also need supply towers, so let's put one of those in. So we'll put it up here near the bridge. I'm just going to have one between these two destinations, and let's run some express trains. So new train line, let's go Buffalo to Syracuse. Let's make it express. Let's do the naming convention. There we go. Let's choose a train. So we still got the John Bull. No more changes required. Bada bing, bada boom. John Bull on the way. There you go. Now, what else do we need? We need maintenance depots. So let's have a look here. Maintenance depot, boom. And we're down to 50 something K. And we also need a maintenance depot in Syracuse. So let's build one of those once we get the dosh. So that's oh, there we go. We got the money. So there we go. Maintenance depots in all of our main cities. So let's look at this first train. We have almost a full train of passengers, so that's pretty good. And let's drive along. So we've got our two mad lads on the engine. They're loving it. So we'll try and get the camera right up to them. Oh, g'day, mate. G'day, knackers. How you going? Oh, he's a rough-looking lad. So let's keep moving on. Don't want to scare we don't want to scare Smile Pie away. But honestly, I'm used to rough-looking lads in my line of profession. So the passengers, they're content. So good on them. So we can see our gridiron coming up as we look at the playthrough or the drive-through, and we're coming into Syracuse now. So Syracuse, a lot of log cabins, some well-to-do houses, some even more well-to-do houses made of bricks. Big bad wolf's not getting in there. And we got some people on the platform, so let's see if there's any lookers. There's a couple of Sheilas back there, but I couldn't really get a good glimpse of them. So Anyway, the train's pulling in. We've had our little fun. Let's jump out of that view. And how much has that train earned us? It's going to come up 21,000. So that is that is a good bit of rev for one train load. So and we've got yeah not quite a number of passengers going back the other way, but there you go. That's how it's done. So we got a breakdown. Yeah, we're just waiting for that passenger number to tick up to 4,800. So in the meantime, we can float around and check on the rest of our cities. So Boston is up to 34,000. So they're almost almost coming up to the next product, which is milk. So without being juvenile, everyone, and singing the milkshake song and commenting about how many boys it would bring to the yard, let's just be responsible adults and buy this dairy. So Anderson breeding. let's let's be let's be adults. Come on, we can do it. 63 grand for a dairy near Albany. Good on us. We are gonna kill it. But we do have to figure out how we're going to connect the bloody thing. So through here, it's a bit squeezy. I don't want to have to build. Well, I'm going to have to build one bridge if I go that way. I could go this side and tie into a connection over here. Like I could do a yeah. I think that's the way to go actually. That's as we get in, there's a bit more contours, but we can if we kind of keep to the yeah follow the high ground so to speak. We could get away with that, I reckon. And then later on, when we do the veggies can just come in from the Syracuse side. So I reckon that's the way to go. Let's up the game speed so we can complete the passengers any second now. So we just need any train to pull in. The next train that pulls in. Ah, there we go. Albany is thriving. Please don't stop now. We're not going to stop, mate. We're going to bloody keep going. That's what we do. Have you ever travelled to Buffalo? Using the new Erie Canal, this is not as uncomfortable as it used to be. But, mate, we're about trains. We're not going to take a bloody boat to Buffalo. We're going to we're going to get on the train, which we have already built. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's pause the game while we read these achieve an express status on a rail line between Albany and Buffalo. Currently not met. So, hint, make sure that your route is as direct as possible and that your train is not delayed on the way. If you want to optimize your routes, it is always an option to demolish parts of your network and rebuild them. Use the demolition mode for that. Well, very good. Reach 60,000 citizens in Albany. Now that's a job. So that's actually something that we can sink our teeth into. So good on us. And then deliver 8 loads of corn to Boston. So we have until the end of 1833 to do all of these things, and it's currently September 1830. So we have, it'll sound funny, but we have 3.5 years of game time to do that because, and I'm going to count this with my fingers. I invite everyone else to count on their fingers as well. 1831, 1832, 1833. How many fingers are you holding up? You're holding up 3. So we've got the remainder of 1830, which is half a year roughly. So 3.5 years. How about that? Good on yous. I love a good audience who can participate in my antics. Our antics. They're not just my antics. They're all our antics. So pat yourself on the back. You're a good participant. Um, so let's work on first things first. So we did set up the corn line almost. Let's get the corn line going. And I did say corn with a C. So we're going to keep our minds on the job, not on the other job. So let's build this station. So this is one of my little suggestions, which I mentioned in a previous video, but because our station is going to straddle many contour lines here, it would be good if we were able to set the grade of the station itself. So that way you can see how many earthworks need to be done, and yeah, you can just set things up the way that you want it to be. So hint hint for the developers. So let's build this station. Let's get that track going as well. So I've been asked in one of my videos or as a comment to one of my videos, to talk a bit more about my philosophy, my track philosophy or track placement philosophy, and essentially my answer to that would be I try and mimic what the tracks actually do in real life. So why is this doing that? That is bloody annoying. So in real life, you wouldn't see, you know, 8 tracks next to each other going everywhere. You pretty much have a corridor with maybe say 2 or 4 tracks. So I try and mimic that, and then I try and also um, mimic how the actual curves would be done. So I like using a lot of right angles, so to speak. So hence why I have this station perpendicular to our main line. Um, this 89 k's, I like to get the max speed rating as well. So what I need to do here, because the further I drag it down here, it's not going to work for some reason. It's having a SPAC attack. Um, what I need to do here is adjust the length of our straight bit where our gridiron is going to be. So I will do that by completely starting over. Let's take you off there. Let's do that again. So we got the max speed, so good on us. Let's do that. Let's duplicate this bad boy. 8%. That's pretty outrageous. We can't do that. Cannot do that. That's a quirk. That's a trick. Let's not do it that way. So we got 2% up to there. Let's build that. And if we come through here, it's going to say something completely different. So sometimes the game, I don't know, sometimes the game does funny things. So I do funny things back. No, not really. So we've got our corn station established. So we need to oh bloody hell, we've only got 1K left. Let's run the game and build up some money before we continue. But so we need to get enough money for a bunch of trains because I want to run, well, the farm itself, it's only going to make 1.6 corns carriages a week. So let's send all the corn to Albany, and we'll build a well. First things first, we could send one corn train to Boston just to fulfill this. So let's do that. But ideally, I'd like to establish the warehouse here, and then send corn from here to Albany. But first up, let's start a rail line from there to Boston. We're going to pick up corn. We're not going to pick up wheat. It's going to max. We're going to make a freight train. We are going to, what the hell? Ah, let's scrap that for now because I forgot to put on a gridiron, so not liking it's not liking what we're proposing just now. But let's go back to new rail line, and we're gonna maybe the one we started making is there. It's not. So let's start over. So let's commentate all that again. So new rail line, Corn Station, also known as Carter Station, but whatever. Corn Station. We want corn only. We want maximum corn, so 8 carriages of corn. We will have a freight train. We will have a John Bull, one train. This one is going to be called F1 corn, and it's going to Boston. So remember, we only need this to run once, and then I'm going to change it and send it to Albany once we have a warehouse there. So that's that. We're not going to bring anything back, and trains away. So let's have a look. So we'll zoom in, and we've got him loading up right now. So that's handy. Now, the other easy task straight up that we can do, an express line between Albany and Buffalo. So I can make a new train to go from Albany to Buffalo. It will just cruise through Syracuse Station and not, as long as there's no trains in the way and causes delay, it will just keep going through. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes if your station already has a shitload of trains, it will get paused for too long. Your attempted express train will get paused for too long, and you won't be able to. It won't classify itself as an express. So let's see how we go. Let's just actually before we do that, let's open up our balance sheet. So we haven't made as much money this quarter as what we did last quarter, but I'd say that's because of the bonus situation. So this year or this quarter, we didn't get any bonuses, whereas in the previous quarters we got a shitload of bonuses. So this time though, we've made a little bit more money on freight. We've more than doubled our passenger volume. We've almost tripled our mail volume. Factory production is down again, so we'll have to have a look at what's going on there. Staff costs, it's because we've got more trains. We can't do much about these expenses. So interest rates, we could pay off our debts. That's the only thing we could do there. But staff costs and maintenance costs, we could fiddle with micromanagement items, which I haven't touched on in this series at all. Usually because I don't really like that element of the game. I'd rather just construct tracks and stations and solve logistical problems. That's always been my fancy when playing this game, rather than micromanaging train company expense cost outputs. But there's a first time for everything, I guess. So we could look at that. We also, here's our investments, or construction of assets. So, and then statistics. So we're expanding our network. We're producing more stuff than what we've have previously. We're transporting heaps more. We're killing it. We are killing it. Okay, so I've just come out of the balance sheet screen, and I've made a train from Albany to Buffalo. So it's starting its journey now. So we'll see if that one becomes an express route. It should. So this train, and we'll follow the journey of it through the station. So we've got one train here already being loaded at Syracuse. We've got our Albany to Buffalo attempted express train coming through now, so it should just, if it's lucky, it'll beat this other train off the line. So it's moving through. I think it's going to power ahead. It's like a bloody train race. So we've got we've got one of our goals achieved. I'd say the corn train has landed in Boston. So we'll check that out in a moment. So our express train to Buffalo from Albany has caused the Buffalo Syracuse train to pause, to stop while it powered through, going its mighty 34 kilometers an hour with our two mad lads driving it like a bat out of hell. So we'll keep an eye on that as we check our task list. So that is correct. Our 8 loads of corn's gone to Boston. So while we keep an eye on this, we'll see once this arrives. We'll see if that gets declared as an express train. If it does, good. If not, then we'll let it go back to Albany and see if it gets classified as the express train then. It's picking up some passengers and mail. It's going to head off. If we look on Albany to Buffalo. So this light here has not come on yet. This little lightning bolt symbol. When that is coloured like that, that means it's an express line. We've got an auction that's come up. Sugar plantation near Charlottesville. I don't even know where Charlottesville is on the map, but it's there. So that's too far away. So we're not gonna look at that. But if we take ourselves back to our train, let's just drive over the map to find it. I'm sure there's a better way to find it, but I haven't used it, so we'll all just have to bloody put up with it. So if this train doesn't get an express icon, then alternative options that we have. So we could put another platform on Syracuse Station just so we could run express trains through there without stopping. I've done that before and that's worked. We could build a total diversion around Syracuse so that the passenger line will bypass Syracuse altogether, and that usually works as well. But this train is going to pull into Albany. Hopefully, it doesn't get held up for too long. It's just going to pause while the corn train drives past. So, it's a bit sensitive when I touch the keys. Let's be mature. Let's be adults. And this big boy's pulling in now, so let's see if it does anything to the express icon. Hey, there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. So express done. Let's adjust the corn train. So that would be an F1 corn to Boston. So let's change that to Albany. So corn to Albany. So done. And let's change the name of the train as well, just so we keep things accurate. Otherwise, we'll be just messing with ourselves when we go to look at things later on. Oh, that's what happens when you have caps lock on. Albany. That's the way. Okay, done. So that is corn train to Albany. That's all sorted out. Now, we were talking about having a warehouse, and just in that time, our money is built up. Our research is also built up. So let's get our deep pockets. So we're going to, instead of, so as the professor, we've already got a bonus of 30% discount on auctions. So now using this technology or innovation, we will now have a 35% discount. So that is handy as. So we were going to build a warehouse in Albany. So that's that. 140k. We got stacks. We're loving it. So let's collect corn. Let's collect wheat. Um, that will do for now. And so the freight train that runs between Albany and Boston will collect corn from here now as well and run it down to Boston. So Boston has just grown, and that black plus there, that means that we can build an industry in Boston. And so I've paused the game because we need to have a think about what industries do we want. So we've got cloth here, which means we'll have a dressmaker here. So that's the logical progression. We've got meat. We should do something with this wood. So we could have either lumber or, well, I don't think papers are available just yet because it's so early in the game. So lumber, and then on from lumber is furniture. So let's actually have a look. We've got this new production, so Industry Plus, and lumber is a thing and furniture is a thing. So if we click on lumber, you'll see that we turn lumber into wooden planks. So um, let's set this up. We have to set it up in town. We'll group them all together because that way, when later on, if we need to build a second station, we'll have room for the second station over here, and our industries are all grouped together, out of the way. So let's put down the lumber. It's going to cost 440, but I believe we will get a discount on that. So let's put it down now. I believed wrong. Whoops. So that's a bit of bad luck. So anyway, it's not bad luck. It's good planning for the future. In 1 year of game time, we're not going to care that we didn't save a few tens of thousands on a plant that is killing it for us. So stock and delivery. So wooden planks don't actually need to be delivered anywhere until a town reaches 55,000. So soon enough, we'll be transporting wooden planks from Boston to Albany and to Portland because these cities are going to grow. But Boston, for the time being, they're up at 41,000, which means they also accept milk, and they're accepting vegetables now, and they'll be accepting fruit soon and dresses. So fruit we'll be getting from over here, so we'll need to have a station down here and branch onto the main line from here. We could probably put fruit into the warehouse in Boston here, so that way it will get taken to Albany. Now we're starting to get a fair few goods that are going to be transported, so we'll need to think about increasing the number of trains on this route. Also, while we're here, we will need to think about increasing the number of passenger trains that we have running between Albany and Boston because we're not quite getting up right there yet, but our rate of fulfillment is dropping, and that is because we don't have enough trains running. So maybe we'll increase the Portland to Boston Express line number of trains. So let's find that. So Boston to Portland, we got one train on there. So let's increase that if we can. So 18,000, we can afford that just. So So we'll have 2 trains running passengers between those 2 cities. That will up our rev and keep everyone happy. So where company's worth 11.5 million. Just a comment and a comparison to one of the older games in the well, not in this series, but Railway Tycoon, the original, I think had more stock market interaction than this particular Railway Empire game. So you can tell that the share market in this game was more of an afterthought rather than a key component of the game. So it's neither here nor there. So some people would be into it if there was more stock options, or if maybe some of your specific industries, were listed on the stock exchange and could be, messed around with and so on. But so it's neither here nor there. It's just an observation, not a critical one, not a you know, not anything. Just yeah, that's that. So now all we need to do is get Albany up to 60. So that means the next thing on the list, we need to connect this thing. Oh, and we need to think about what are we going to build in Albany for our industry. And so I've already touched on that before. I want cheese in Albany. So if we go to our industry plus, so new production is coming up there, cheese will take milk and turn it, or the dairy will take milk and turn it into cheese. Maybe they should have called it a cheese factory. That would be more apt. There you go. Well, that is a little sting. It's like, come on, bloody Calypso, call your cheese factory a cheese factory, not a dairy. Everyone knows that. Anyway, no, I'm only messing with you. Just messing with you. We love you. Don't stop making our games. Yeah. Now the other thing, we need to connect these vegetables, so that's where we'll be getting these from. So how much does this cost us? Cost us stuff all. So let's bloody buy the shit. Or watch your language, Smile Pie. You don't know who may be watching. Yes, Gandalf. 58,000. So that was good. So we've prepared for those. Let's see how much the fruit farm costs. It probably won't be that much either. It's not that much, but I don't want to buy it yet because we don't need it yet. But they would be fulfilling stuff pretty soon. So our catch, so I don't want that to be given up. So just as a safety precaution, I'm going to pause it. Let's go to our I'm not going to talk about the size of the hat, but let's go and see the finance people. 520 is exactly what we need. So let's take out that. And let's build our cheese factory / dairy. Boom. So that's secured our industry the way that I want it to run, the way that I want it to run for us to maximize our business empire. So there's another milk farm over here, but it's outside of our grasp just now. We can't get in there just yet. We will at some stage, and it will be nice. So we've got our future industries booked on. The wood train, the wood line to Boston, we could probably run more wood on that, I would suggest as well. But we'll see how we go. So we're coming up to the end of this video. So next time we'll be tackling 60K in Albany. But for the time being, thank you all for staying to the end. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Feel free to make any comments. Comment about any of the anything you like, any of the things I've done here or said. And remember, with small bites, every pie can be eaten. So thank you.